In this video, we're going to be assessing the GTA 6 screenshots that are on the website. There are many to go through. We're going to be looking at cars mainly, including all the screenshots with cars and extracting the most detail I possibly can. I have tried my best to zoom up in certain pictures and try to get details of certain cars, but when you get to a certain distance, it gets too blurry where you can't make it out no matter how much you zoom. But nevertheless, I've learned a lot. I've seen some shocking detail and it makes me more and more excited. Let's get to the first screenshot. First of all, in this picture, we've got the bison on the left, which I'm going to come back to in a second because it's interesting in itself. We have the Impaler LX that we saw donked in the first trailer, and you will see donked later. And at the back, all the way over there, you can see the Primo. But the bison on the left here, you can see it's got wheel studs, which is not that remarkable, but when you realize in the actual trailer 2, it doesn't. So the wheel options have definitely widened. This car here, I know it's identifiable. Someone will be able to identify it. So if someone in the comments could identify that, all together we can get every single car. In this shot, there's many vehicles again. The ones in the background are almost unidentifiable. Maybe you can pick up 1 or 2 vehicles only because they're familiar to the eye from GTA 5. But yeah, I don't think that is identifiable. But we do seem to be getting a lot of vehicles that can tow in this game. Towing is definitely going to be a feature. There's no way Rockstar are going to add this many shots of vehicles towing and not let you tow on most things. Look, there's even a journey that's towing here. So anything with a tow hook will be able to tow. We have the Boxville. This car might be the baller again, but it's too blurry. Here in the Wildfire, you can see another vehicle with an open trailer. Hard to identify, but something's being offloaded there. Now, this is a scene that I'm going to come back to as well, but it interests me a lot. First of all, this interior is near enough duplicated of a Ford Mustang. It's not, but you can see they followed the concept just like they're doing with cars. They're doing the interior as a blatant copy, but changing it up a bit. Now, if you compare this to the actual Mustang, you can see what I mean. And I'm going to come back to this screenshot because there's some important information regarding interiors that you can only pick up if you look at pictures side by side for like half the day. Here we have a postcard and we can actually see quite a few vehicles. The postcard seems to be a lot better quality than a few of these images. And you see the BSTR has made its way back. There's different variants of the Ram. For some reason, there's 3 BSTRs in this parking lot. We have 2 ballers, 2 F-150s. Yeah, there's quite a few duplicates. And if we move to the left of the postcard, you can see the Contender, which is making a return. Quite a few cars in there. And then we go to this next screenshot. A lot of people aren't realizing that you can actually download these images off Rockstar's website. So it is artwork that's normally covered up by the writing and more pictures. But if you download them individually, this is artwork that you can download. And we have the updated G-Wagon zoomed up and up close. And this is artwork, so it does look a bit different to how the car may come out. Nevertheless, it looks so realistic. And the next screenshot, you see the bison and you see another company vehicle. And in the background, there are many cars. But again, they're so pixelated that you can hardly tell what they are. I'll let you guys have a quick look at this and tell me what you think are in the background. But all the other vehicles are just hard to. And that looks like the Sentinel, but from the rear, it doesn't seem so. So like these pixels can play with you. And the Sugoi is an obvious one. I think that's the Dubster. There's not many cars that are that shape. And yeah, here's a zoomed up imagery of all these cars. And to see how far they are zoomed up, if we scroll out, we can see, yeah, probably not meant to see those vehicles. Here we're looking at the bison again and towing crocodiles, which means there's probably hunting missions. And we may be seeing like complex of Red Dead being added into GTA 6. And that same Ford Explorer cop car chasing him. In this shot, I know it's silly to zoom up in the background. It is artwork, but we can see the Blister has made it back. The Xeon has made it back, although this could be something else. I'm not quite sure what this minivan is. It may just be the minivan. This here seems to be the Camacho, which leads me to believe that even cars that are not common in GTA 5 are coming to GTA 6. So how many vehicles will there be? And in this screenshot, I don't think it needs mentioning the Corvette D10 in the bottom here. The modification for spoiler might be a bit different. Here from another aerial view, I think it will be very silly of me to just try and depict cars zooming in But let's have a quick look and see if we can get anything. It looks here like we've got the Mesa, and if we keep going up the road, unidentifiable, unidentifiable. Yeah, it's very hard. I keep seeing this vehicle again and again. This same shape, as you can see, is pretty warped here. And you know you're being silly zooming in when there's a wheel missing on one of the cars, because obviously it's not rendered in. In this image, another one that's packed full of cool things other than cars, but we are looking at just cars right now. And it looks to be a Mercedes Sprinter van here, or those Sprinter minibuses, which is really cool because later on you do see a transit van as well. So there's many vans. And then Yosemite 1500, but this one seems to be slightly different with the wheels, with the suspension. So there might be an adjustment, or maybe there are lift kits in the game. And we seem to have the Impaler SZ here behind the woman. And for some reason, it has different wheels. I'm not too sure why. Maybe doubt that it was the Impaler SZ for a minute. So why would they get rid of that famous 5-spoke wheel? So in this screenshot, we do have a few cars. Again, with the Bison utility version. And then it seems like the older Baller. And then everything else is unidentifiable. This does seem like the vehicle in the trailer that was in front of the Astron at night, still unidentifiable. We do need help with this in the comments. Now, this scene, obviously you don't see any cars in the game, but you do see a flood gauge on the left over here, which is interesting because this may mean, obviously the flood level will be going up and down, but it may mean that your off-road vehicle has a certain limit, and that will be identified when you buy the car or SUV. A very cool and interesting one. We seem to have the Jeep Scrambler, a car that is unnecessary, and it keeps emphasizing how many cars we're going to have in GTA. There's an overwhelming amount of cars. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do the video on customizations because there's going to be a lot of cars to customize. And here in this drug deal, you can see in the background a Jubilee, so it's a very high-end drug deal. Another interesting picture, and you guys were right, or shall I say Display Copied was right. He said the car that I said was an S-Class. He said looked more like the Q45, the Infiniti Q45. And yes, he was correct. We get to see a picture at the back, and it's definitely the Q45. And it seems we have a Silverado truck with a lift kit. And what a big lift kit that is. We clearly have many places to customize our cars. This is not going to be all in one custom shop. I think this is so cool and interesting. And there we see that Phoenix again. Beautiful. Updated Phoenix. And then the Emperor in the bottom left there. There's too many vehicles in this game. On this postcard, if we zoom in, you can see the blister compact there. I can't really tell what's going on. It feels like someone's trying to rob the car. And then that seems to be maybe a Schwarzer. You do see the Schwarzer in one of the videos. In this video, you do get to see the Dubster once again in the background. And if you look on the left of the screen, you can see a glimpse of a Schwarzer. You realize how many cars are returning, and you're like, where's there space for these new vehicles? Here you see a new image of the Audi A5. People dancing on top of it with high heels. But I don't think GTA 6 is that. There's so much detail, but I don't think there's that much detail where they'll scrape the car doing dances on it. Here on this image, you clearly see artwork again, but you see the Baller on the left here. You see the Comet S2 Cabrio, but in artworks, they do look different. But the image here is quite interesting. Manual, which if it's like GTA 5, then the manuals actually won't be manuals. But you will see entertainment here on the right, but it does seem like this is carried over on many cars, because just remember this entertainment. Just have a look at it and then look out, it's a different car. But if we do go back to that picture, we can see it's the same in infotainment, the same vehicle, assist functions, seats. But then I think you do get a little glimpse of what you may be able to control. So you will be able to get your car to drive itself. And obviously music, and I think all these functions will be usable. But yeah, it says like the same screen on a different car. On this image, it's really interesting because it does show a new car. We do have the Carbonizer, the Banshee. This car again, which I was telling you in the first screenshot, it may just be the Impaler SZ. It could just be. You have the Tulip, we have the Furia, the Comet S2 Cabrio again, the Baller, the Corsair D10. You can see here we have a Transit, totally new vehicle. And it is customizable. In GTA 5, you can't really customize vans, utility vans anyway. And over here, you see an adjusted model of the Sultan, which seems to be a 2014 Impreza. I'm doing this based off the headlight and the rear remaining the Sultan, we all know. And because it's so far away, a lot of things probably didn't render. That's why it looks a bit off. Again, we see the back of the STX. And if you go zoom into the headlights, you can see Like the grading as well, it's just like real life, where you see a headlight lit more in another area, and it's not dazzling the camera like the Buffalo STX is now in GTA 5. Another image with a few cars in here. This vehicle here seems to be quite interesting. I don't know what that is, but it's definitely not the norm. Few vehicles, again, unidentifiable, but if you can make out any of these vehicles, please do let me know. But if you do look at the bottom left here, there does seem to be some cars that are identifiable, like the Lambo that we saw earlier. Another one in green, but different wheels. See the Phoenix right here. Corvette. This looks like the Cognoscenti to me. Or it could just be the back of a VSTR. And here in the final image, we see that Impaler LX donked again. See the Vigero ZX in the background, which is a Cabrio version. And on the right here seems to be a new Charger. Well, like the 2010 shaped Charger, but an updated version. So this vehicle, I'm not that familiar with. After a little rabbit hole I went through, it seems to be based on the IBM Paris, the Innocent. If anyone knows, again, what that is, please do let me know. And then you can see at the back there, the Outlaw with some crazy modifications. It just shows the variety of modifications you can put on different cars. But yeah, I implore you to check out these things for yourself. Like, there might be a lot of things that I've missed. If there's things you can correct me on. But when you look at minuscule detail, you start realizing a lot more and more. I think I've had my fair share of delving into this now, and my eyes need a rest off GTA 6 imagery. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy, and see you guys in the next one.